you would have Syrian Consulting kind of write a thought leadership series based off on what you're learning, speaking to organizations, the multinationals, speaking to, the SMEs as well, the mid-sized companies. What are some of the insights that you're getting in these organizations, particularly in the bit about that whole culture rebrand space?
One is awareness, because you find there are many organizations that some may not be aware about our culture.
Yeah.
So knowing about it is one, and then understanding it is two. But for them to understand is a crucial part of their business, and you cannot ignore it.
Okay. And what would be your advice? So we look at the problem, and then what will be your advice into it?
Get someone to work with you to understand what it is and to understand who you are. Because I may know winning, but when we put it collectively, we may not know who we are. And remember, I talked about the purpose of the organization. So when you understand the purpose of your organization and why you are there, it is only natural that you ask yourself, then if we know who we are and why we exist, are we living to that? Do we have the right behaviors that will help us, therefore, to deliver on our purpose? It cuts across, your operations. It's not a people thing only. It cuts across your operations. Then seek to address that. And the other thing is be patient. It won't happen overnight. It will not happen overnight.
That's sort of one that is quite common in senior management, especially for results. I think everyone is thirsty for results, thirsty for an output, thirsty for ensuring that the company succeeds.
True. And but the one thing is that, remember, it is people who are going to deliver this for you. And people are not switch on and off kind of capital. Today you have money, you can transfer your money. Today you have your technology, you can change your technology. We can't do the same with people. Because each and every person or each and every individual in the organization is a whole being with a whole personality. And therefore, if you're going to achieve a common personality or organizational personality, then you got to work within the personalities of the individuals. And that's the reason why it's not an overnight thing. Wow. It's not a tick box exercise, let me call it that. Yeah, you got to invest and be patient.
So that culture will hold for another 4 years.
Yes.
But the process of, doing the work behind the scenes, how long will that take? Based off on your experience on an average perspective, going in there, doing the audit, and then helping organizations stay ahead?
It depends on the size of the organization. There's an organization that we've not just done a culture audit for them. So we were building another practice, people practice on it. But out of that, we've seen, it became kind of like a mini culture audit. And this taken us about up to 6 months. Organizations that we worked with, like the Standard Group, it took us about 5 months to work, because you co-create this with the organization.
True.
As a consultant, you can sit behind the scenes and you do your work within a month or less. But then it is the whole ensuring that you're doing the right thing that takes a bit of time.
Wow.
Yes, it can take up to 4 months, thereabout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Winnie, I'm afraid we're running short of time, but the whole perspective, I think, with the headhunter is to also ensure that even for the leaders as well who are watching, they can actually kind of be aware, because you mentioned awareness is actually a critical need, especially in these spaces. And also just sharing your insights, such as you said, that, taking actions. It's one thing to know, but again, ensuring that you can actually take action. Just before I let you go, it's just more on your personal insights. And this is largely from, the background you've had, very strong, especially neck deep when organizations are transitioning or are morphing. And I feel like we're going back into that space again, post-COVID. What are some of the skills or advice you'll actually give to professionals who are now in the spaces that you played in, in that whole transitionary phase, for that matter?
This particular period calls for maybe 3 things. One, agility. You don't have a choice. I mean, the things have really changed, but so professionals need to keep up with that. And just ensure that in the ever-changing environment, that they're able to adapt to that change. Because then if they don't, they get frustrated. They frustrate the people they lead as well. So So they need to be agile in their thinking and in their doing. The other thing is to be innovative. Because when you didn't have something, you need to create it, you need to innovate it. But as you're doing that, involve people. The solutions are with the employees. So what do they want in an environment? And the third thing for leaders is empathy. That everybody's come up from a difficult environment. Leaders need to have the empathy. And to put the human back into the human capital, because that is very, very critical. And COVID just taught us that we're human beings, basically, at the end of the day. But how we go forward, therefore, we need to keep remembering that.